Welcome to today's 30-30 practice. We are going to go through a 30-minute breath practice followed by a 30-minute movement practice, which you can do independent or together. I highly recommend doing this practice in the morning because our breath work tends to invigorate us and give us more energy. Though this practice, I will be sharing with you some calming breath cycles that can also be done independent, not necessarily in 30 minutes. You can take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. And there's some of my favorites that I wanted to share with you today. So we'll start by just taking a nice comfortable seated position. You can sit with your legs crossed, your feet in butterfly and Baddha Konasana, or you can just stretch your legs out in front of you. If that is just not working for you today, you can also do this seated upright in a chair or any other seat that's comfortable for you. Close your eyes and simply take a moment to recognize where your breath is and where maybe it is not as expanding, as opening. Notice how when you bring your awareness to the quality of your breath, there's a natural deepening or lengthening that starts to occur. Because where our awareness goes, energy flows. So simple, yet something that we forget. We forget so easily that when we focus our attention to a negative thought or pattern or idea or concept, that we don't realize how much of our energy flows in that direction and sometimes feeds that part of us. There's an old proverb that speaks of two wolves, and that within us lives two wolves, one of evil and darkness and despair and grief, and the other of joy and light and expression. And the question has always been, well, which wolf wins? The answer, that which you feed. And as you feed your energy in a direction, you'll feel that translate through your body, through your breath. You'll even have moments in asana practice where you may go into a negative spiral. I don't like this. Why are they making me do this? When can we get out of this? And it's easy to spiral in that direction. And as quickly as you notice, snap yourself back to feeding that greatness within you, that power inside of you in the positive direction. And I know it can be hard, and we all are challenged with this in our day-to-day, in our every moment, every choice, every experience. And we all know people in our life who seem to be masters of it. Use them as tools to bring you back up when you feel into that low, below the line energy, we call it, sort of allowing that stagnation to occur. And bringing yourself back to your breath, back to your breathing. Bring your hands to your heart center. And a very common way to start our yogic practice with palms at heart center, setting your own intention, dedication, perhaps a word that you'd like to feed the one within you, to bring you back to joy, ease, expression, clarity. Take a breath from there. Follow it all the way out. And simply release your hands. You can blink your eyes to open to start this first piece, because I just want to speak to our breath holding and the locks involved. So there are 3 locks when we hold our breath, and we're not going to use them right away, but I just want to reference them now before we get started. So anytime we do a breath hold, there's our throat lock, which is at the top, Jalandhara bandha. And this is to seal the energy at the very top. So when we breathe in, we're breathing below this point. Where we hold here, we're working the spinal cord, we're improving our circulation and our spinal health. So there's an energetic lift. So not only to pause, like we're capping the energy here, But then we add in udiyana bandha, which is our middle lock. Think of it as your belly button center. So I'm going to use my hands to reference here. If we seal off the top jalandhara just by pulling the chin down and the shoulders back, we almost create a little cap. And then the udiyana bandha, which is navel towards spine, or an idea of pulling in and up. There's an energetic rising. It helps to strengthen our abdomen, our diaphragm, and it allows us to massage our inner organs. We're going to go a step further today with udiyana bandha and really focus on pulling the belly in and up. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. This also helps to stimulate circulation in the abdomen and also circulation all the way up to our brain. Then the third one is mula bandha, which is our base or root lock, it's often called. And it prevents energy from going down. We want the energy to rise, but also to be capped. So we're not letting energy fall out the base, but we're capping not only the top, but the bottom. And in the center, it's like we're pushing, we're using that center point to pull the energy that wants to travel down back up within us. So it's sort of that dark to light reference. So what we call above the line and below the line. Perhaps you recognize yourself when you're coming from a space of below the line, which is kind of negative self-talk, negative external talk. And then when you're above the line, that positive self-talk, that positive outward energy. So you have this element, and the udiyana bandha helps to pull that energy back up. So I just want you to try this for a moment. Take a really big breath in. Draw your chin down, jalandhara bandha, shoulders back, navel towards your spine, and squeeze the muscles of the pelvic floor, which is essentially the muscles that stop the flow of going to the washroom. And exhale fully. And at the very bottom, the last drop of exhalation, go empty, empty, empty. Chin down, belly in, pelvic floor squeeze. Sometimes the harder one here. When you're ready to release, inhale and release the locks. So just to give you a visual reference of what udiyana bandha can look like, I'm just going to lift up here, and you'll watch the belly and the rib cage. So taking a breath, I'm going to exhale fully. And a releasing quality. So you really want to start to create a connection with that idea of pulling in and up. You're essentially taking your lower digestive and intestinal tract and pulling it up underneath the rib cage. That's the massaging of the inner organs. When we release them back down, it's like a flushing out. This is why kriyas are known to cleanse, to clear, not only in the energetic sense, but in a physical sense. So we're going to leave that be. We're going to go through a few cycles of breath work, different sets. And we're going to start today with 4-7-8. And this is a very calming and presence breath. This is a breath I use to get myself aware of the moment, to come into the now. We won't use the locks here. If you want to practice them, you're welcome to. But we're going to use an inhale for a 4 count, a holding of the breath in the body for a 7 count. Good time to just hold those locks if you're practicing them. And then on your exhalation, it's a slow 8 count. And it's through the lips and steady. So you're not just, you want to get to the bottom with a steady exhale one direction. So let's do this one together. Close your eyes. Take a clearing breath in. A sighing breath out. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2. Fill right up. Last sip. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4. Consider your locks as you go here. 2, 1. Release any locks for 8. Steady. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Take a breath in and a releasing breath out. Take a moment just to recognize that awareness, that deep sense of concentration or relaxation you might feel wash over you. This breath set is known to calm the fight or flight response in the body, bringing that depth of exhale, that groundedness, while invigorating the oxygen by holding it in the body and letting it flow and be actually used more readily by your inner body. We'll shift gears into the breath of Ujjayi, the breath of victorious or oceanic breath. And you'll take your hands to start just onto your hips. Close your eyes. Sip the breath through the nose and the base of the throat. Lips are sealed. If it helps you to count, go ahead and count your inhalation and then match the count on your exhalation. So as you inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, pause, then reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, reverse, in. Pause, exhale. Keep going. And hearing the breath both on the inhalation and the exhalation. This breath is most known for using during our asana practice. So as we tap into it here before our 30 minutes of movement, we're really deepening that sounding quality. This breath can help us improve our concentration, release any physical tension we might be feeling, and we can manage more readily how warm or cool our body is. Slide your hands to your rib cage. Keep breathing in this way. I want you to feel your rib cage expand under your hands, your fingers. I want you to feel that releasing quality as you exhale, the ribs knitting themselves towards one another. With your thumbs behind you, you're feeling into that expansion behind you, not just in front of you, but in every direction. Gradually transition your hands to your shoulders, your thumbs in front, fingers behind, elbows to the sky. Keep breathing in that expanding fashion, feeling the lifting quality of your rib cage. And that knitting in, shoulders down with that exhalation. Keeping the eyes closed, the head at neutral. And the eyes are closed because it doesn't matter what I look like. It matters what's going on within you. That your attention, your focus is back into the awareness that you're creating, the intention you set. Do one more here. And release your hands back to your lap. Keep your eyes closed. Focused awareness still on the breath, the intention that you set. Okay, we'll switch up our seat here. Feel free to stretch your legs out, tap them out if you need. If it's okay, you'll come onto your knees into a kneeling position. You can put a block or a pillow under your hips if you'd like. Otherwise, you can switch the cross of your legs if that's working for you today. And we're going to add in 3 Simha mudras, which are lion's breath. And the lion's breath is a widening of the mouth. So it's to stretch the facial expression, anything we might be holding in our jaw and in our face. And you're going to open the mouth as wide as you can and stick out your tongue. And breathe out anything from the throat, that energetic throat chakra. Now, we're going to add in here those breath holds, and it can be really beneficial that on the exhalation, so when we're fully empty, we can then pull that belly in and up and find that lifting quality when we bring Jalandhara Bandha back in. So just to give you an example, we'll pull back to inhale. Exhale fully, eyes cross over the bridge of the nose. Then chin down, belly lift. Inhale to release. And we go again. So let's do it together 3 times. Hands onto the knees, straight arms. And when you pull the shoulders back, I want you to think about tractioning the neck, chin down as the shoulders draw back. And you'll feel that there's an energetic, but also a muscular pull of the navel up and tucking it underneath the rib cage. Take a breath in, eyes closed. Lean forward, look up. Pull the belly in and up, chin down. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Inhale to release. Let's sigh. And then we'll do the next one. Inhale. Shoulders back. Pull the chin down, belly up. Excuse me. Inhale to release. And to sigh. Sometimes when you breathe out strong through the throat, you get a little tickle. Take a sip of water if you need to. Next one, inhale, pull back, eyes closed. Look forward and up. Chin down, belly lift. Inhale to release. And to sigh. Good. Feel free to stay in this seat or adjust back to legs crossed. I'm going to sit up on a cushion here to give a little more space. And we're going to add in our Kapalabhati breath now. And the Kapalabhati is a great way, again, to cleanse and clear any stagnation. It's also great for digestion, really good at strengthening our abdomen and our diaphragm. So for this one, if it's okay on your shoulders, you'll interlace all 10 fingers, point your fingers to the sky. First one, left thumb over right, and arms up to the sky. Kapalabhati is a reminder, if you're new, is a sharp, quick exhale, exhale, exhale. Comes from the belly. We don't want to use the whole body here. We want to stay as still as possible. And exhale, we'll do the first one through the lips. We'll do the second one through the nose. So if you're new, you can keep the hands in your lap, one hand to your belly. If you're working with arms overhead, go ahead and reach up, close the eyes. Take your vision to your mid-brow between the eyebrows, forehead center. Take a half breath in and begin. Exhale, 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 exhale. Keep going. If you need to pause to lick your lips or take a sip of water, do so. If it's too fast, slow it down. This breath can be known to have us increase our blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure or even low blood pressure, you may feel a little bit dizzy or disorientated. Keep the eyes closed and keep going at a pace and a rhythm that's working. About one more minute. Exhale fully. Take a full breath up to your hands. Release the hands back to the lap. Exhale. Take a moment. Observe any sensations. Let's take a breath hold on the inhale and the exhale here. Full tall breath in. Jalandhara bandha, chin down. Udiyana bandha, belly in. Mula bandha, pelvic floor lift. This is known as the Maha bandha. All of the locks turned on. Inhale to exhale to release. Let's do the lock at the end of the exhale. Chin down, belly lift. Squeeze the muscles. Inhale to release. And to sigh. Good. Second set, Kapalabhati. Remember, this is a clearing of stagnation. If you're getting a stitch in your side, it can be normal. Take a break when you need to. Interlace the hands the opposite way. Opposite thumb on top. Arms to the sky. Close your eyes. Take a half breath in. Begin. Through the nose. Exhale, 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 exhale. Doesn't have to come from that deep throat breath. It comes through the passageway of the nose, just a empty, 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 empty. Keep going, about 30 more seconds. Eyes up to the mid-brow, eyes are closed. Exhale fully. Take a full breath in. Release the hands. Sigh it out. Take a sip of water if you need. Hands in your lap, eyes closed. Simply observe. Let's work that breath hold one more time. Full breath in. Chin down, belly lift, squeeze the base. Exhale to release. Slow every last drop of breath. Then chin down, belly lift up under the ribs. Inhale to release. And a sigh. You come into a cross-legged seated position. Hands in your lap, palms down to ground your energy. If you're feeling a little bit elevated and a little too much, you can place fingertips on the floor, palms in your lap. Close your eyes and go back to the breath of Ujjayi, the victorious, soothing breath in the base of the throat. Inhale, looking left. Exhale, looking right. Think tall breath through center, look left. Exhale tall as you look right. Keep going. Our pranayama practice is a wonderful depth of connection that attaches or connects more deeply our asana practice, which we'll move to shortly. But recognize your breath as the access. That the pose and the posture is a direction that we're headed. But the amount of inhale to the amount of exhale is what will fully bring you into the depth of your pose, your practice. More in tune to the energy you're bringing, the awareness in which you're cultivating, recognizing the darkness and the light. Do one more looking left. And One more looking right. As you come back to center, take a moment in observation that you are the witness of your experience. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts will flow in and out, but the fact that you can see your thoughts allows you to see that you are the witness, the viewer, the observer of your experience. As you blink your eyes to open, find your way onto your back just for a minute. If all you're practicing is the pranayama, taking a minute to lie on your back is very important. Or if we just simply jump up and go back to our everyday experience, we're not allowing ourselves the time or the space to truly cultivate that inner resilience, that inner practice, that depth of awareness. Today's movement practice in this 30-30 is just a simple flow. We're going to keep it really simple and really tap into the breath that we've experienced and using it as a tool to access the depth of our asana and the correlation between the two. Take a full breath in, a sighing breath out. Draw your knees into your chest. Stretch your arms out left and right and swing your knees both over to the right. A little simple twist for your spine can feel really good after some pranayama. Take a breath in. Look all the way left as you breathe out. As your chin comes back to center, bring your knees back to center. Take a breath. Knees over to the left. Take a breath. Look all the way to your right. As your chin comes back to center, knees back to center. Catch behind the thighs, below the knees, and pull the chin up and rock yourself 3, 4, 5 times from your hips to your shoulders, bringing some intention to the lifting quality in your spine that we breathed it through, but now we're massaging the edges, tough edges that can exist. Come all the way up, either roll over your ankles or sweep your legs to one side onto hands and knees. And a simple cat-cow 3 times here. So we'll inhale, shoulders back, chest lift. And exhale to round it out. Inhale, chest lift. Elbows stay straight and pull your shoulders back. You can soften, but the arms are straight. Exhale, push the ground away. Big cat stretch. One more. Take your hands, one hand width forward and out to the edges of your mat. So your pinky fingers just brush the edges. And you'll press your hips up and back into downward dog. Nice long dog. You can pedal at your feet here if it's the first down dog of your day. Letting the hips shift a little from that 30 minutes of seated work. Then come to a still point in your down dog and think about your udiyana, the belly button towards spine, and the pulling in and up of your lower belly to actually lengthen your lower back. So when you exhale, think about drawing the navel up. You're not going to hold the breath there. You might for a moment just to see what's possible, but we're keeping that navel connection to allow the energy to stay in that lifted state. Now step your feet to the top of your mat. Halfway lift with feet hip distance, about 2 fists if you want to measure. Exhale, bow forward, pull your chin through to your chest. And then reach for the sky. Inhale, come all the way up. And hands through heart center. Lift your 10 toes, feeling the anchor of the points of your feet. Push your heels away from center and release your arms. You'll feel the legs wake up. So Tadasana is an energetic position. We're standing at attention, like a soldier would as it stands in alignment. Now take your arms up, inhale. Pull your hips back as you exhale. Feel the hinge in your body. Soften your knees, especially if the hamstrings are tight. Chin to chest, then lift halfway, lengthen. Step your left foot back, knee comes down, arms to the sky, lunge. Breath in. Pause for your breath out. Feel the stretch through the front side of your body on the left side. Hands through heart, inhale. Hips pull back, and the hands come down on either side of that front foot. If you're on fingertips, that's fine. Pick up the back foot, left palm flat, right palm flat, plank. Lower chaturanga. You'll go all the way to your belly. Point your toes, lift into cobra. Releasing down, exhale. Tuck the toes, up and back. You can use the knees or lift them up, downward facing dog. Take that udiyana breath, so inhale long. As you exhale, think navel to spine, lengthening the lower back. Look forward, step to the top of your mat. Hip distance, halfway lift. Fold it through. Inhale to rise. Move in that slow awareness, full length of breath. Hands to heart center. Lift the 10 toes, push the heels apart. Pull your feet towards center. Inhale, sweep up. Hips back, heart forward, fold. Halfway lift. Right foot steps back, knee comes down, arms come up. Take a breath. Use the exhale to extend the length of that front-sided stretch. Then hands to heart. Pull the hips slightly back as you hinge forward. You're inside that knee, so your left hand might not reach the floor at first. As it does, plank, chaturanga. Let's go all the way down. Point the toes, lift the heart, cobra. And then release. Tuck the toes, up and back. Downward dog. Let your head go. Even take your eyes towards your navel, because remember, where your eyes go, energy flows. Where your awareness goes, energy flows. Take it to your navel, pull in and up. Stretch back, look forward, step to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Forward fold. Press to rise, come all the way up, and hands to heart center. Now toe heel your feet right together, and take your hands around behind you. Interlace 10 fingers, or hold a strap or a towel here. Bring your knees together, heels apart. So when the knees come together and the heels push apart, we're more likely to bring those knees closer and tighter as we sit into our chair position, Utkatasana. Hands slide down, chest lifts up. Now, if the knees came forward, take a peek, pull the knees behind your toes, lift them up, push your heels apart, feel your knee points connect. Sit a little bit deeper and gradually bring your ribs onto your thighs. So you're trying to lengthen your ribs all the way over the knees. Then the hands come up, start to straighten the legs. Squeeze the hands into a fist for 3. Let your head go for 2. Think navel to spine. Lengthen your last 1. And bend your elbows, release your hands to the floor, lift halfway. Step your left foot back, this time straight lunge, knee lifted, arms come up. Exhale again, hands to heart. You might feel your left heel sink back. It's often an energetic dropping in. Push off those toes. Take a hinge forward And then open the wings out to the left and right as you rotate, left hand down, right arm to the sky. Feel free to use a block here to give you a bit more lift. We don't want the hips to be really high. We don't want them to be sinking really low unless we're modifying and the knee is on the ground. Push off the back toes and pull your right hip back. If that causes your knee to swing out, plug your right big toe down. Now from here, we're gonna go into warrior two. So that means your left hand's gonna leave the floor, right hand comes down by your hip, left heel comes down like a dance with your breath. You land in this open, expanded variation. Let's take the left hand and sweep it forward. Right arm comes around and you're going to eagle your arms, elbow on elbow, catch your shoulders. As you catch your shoulders, elbows, right one presses down, left one presses up. Backs of the hands pull towards each other. If you can reach the upper thumb, go for it. And then swing your elbows forward. And then out of your waist, I want you to pull your hips back and reach towards that top left corner of your mat. Now, if you feel this a lot in your outer right hip, just stay here. If you want to work some more balance and stability, think of udiyana bandha, navel to spine, and hinge forward a little further. Maybe bring your fingertips down onto the floor as you reach away from your body. Stretching the shoulders, balancing through the hips, chin pulls in slightly. 2 more breaths. Navel to spine for that balanced action. Pull your right hip back, left hip slightly forward, left heel presses down, bring your fingertips up, 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 whichever height you got to, and then reopen your wings. Straighten your front leg, inhale. Reach forward, exhale. Triangle, open the hands, right hand down, left arm to the sky. Go back into that idea of our pelvic floor and our mula bandha. There's a squeezing in of the lower body, feet towards each other, which might lift us a little higher. And then extending through your right side waist. Udiyana bandha, navel towards the spine, giving you stability. Look down to the earth. Bend your right knee, float back up to warrior two. Full breath in. Full breath out. Sit a little deeper. Stay with the breath. On your next exhalation, hands come down. Step back, downward dog. Top of a push-up now. Inhale, lower halfway or all the way. Your knees can be lifted or lower. Up dog or cobra, shoulders back, chest lift, knees are lifted. Hips up and back, downward dog. Feel free to do what we did earlier to your belly and use your knees to transition. Stretch back, inhale. Look forward, exhale, step to the top of your mat, feet together, halfway lift, forward fold. Press to rise, come all the way up. Hands to heart center, standing at attention. Feet together, knees together, heels apart. Hands come around behind, interlace opposite hand on top. If you can't remember which hand, it's usually the opposite of the one you naturally go to. Squeeze elbows, shoulders back, sit into your chair. Start to straighten your elbows. Now you might just stay here. Your hands might just stay on your tail, and that's fine. You're working straighter and straighter without letting your wrists pop apart. Keep the strength in the wrist, build the strength in the hands. Gradually pull the knees back, your ribs to your thighs. Let your head go and lift your hands up if there's space. If there's no space, keep the hands in the fist and squeeze your elbows back. Maybe lift the hands 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, eventually higher and higher. For 3, for 2, navel to spine, get long in your lower back. And release your fists, your hands to the floor, lift halfway, and step your right foot back. Find the tall lunge. Inhale, stay for the exhale. Bring your hands through to your heart. Push off your back foot. So you might feel as though you're going over your front knee. It just means you need to step your back foot further back. You should be leaning off the back toes. Right hand comes down, left arm to the sky. Feel free to use a block here. If the left knee feels like it's winging out or the back knee is dropping, go back to engaging, expressing out, and then softening in. Finding the balanced action of expression with ease. And from here, we go to warrior two. The back heel is going to come down when the right hand comes up and around. The dance of opening up your warrior. Finding your breath, bring your right arm underneath your left, catch your shoulders, and then the backs of the hands towards each other. Little eagle arm variation. You can stay here, catch the upper thumb. Point the elbows forward, and as you swing the ribs forward, it's like off to that far left corner or right corner of your mat, sorry. As you reach away from your body, pull your left hip back, sit a little more. You might pause here and just stay. This feels like a lot, stay with it. If you want to go a little further, maybe use that block, maybe reach for the floor out ahead of you. Don't forget your back leg is important here. Otherwise, your left leg's going to burn out. Feed the body with breath. Which wolf are you feeding in this moment? Stay in the light, stay in that lift. Press into the feet, come all the way back up. Open the arms. Warrior two, sit in a little further. Then front leg straight. Up out of your waist, triangle, front to back. Remembering that we're not just trying to reach for the floor, but we're equally trying to reach for the ceiling, being between the light and the dark. We can't live always above, and we can't live always below the line. So find the place in the middle. The most balanced point. Start to bend your front knee, come back up to warrior two. Take a full cycle of breath, sit in a little further. And a little further. Then take your hands to the mat, square your hips, step back, downward dog. Top of a push-up, breath in, knees up or down, active in your legs, lower halfway or all the way. Flip your toes, up dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Navel to spine, think udiyana bandha, extending your lower back. Look forward, step to the top of your mat, lift halfway, hold it out. Press to rise, come all the way up, and hands to heart center. Shift your weight onto your left foot and swing your right knee open for tree. Now, when you swing the knee, watch your left hip might pop out, squeeze in, foot to leg, ankle, maybe above at the inner thigh. Wherever you are, there's an opening of the knee. Watch the hips aren't rotating to access that. Now take your eyes up, take your arms up, and think about extending everything up from your toes to your fingertips. Shoulders away from the ears, plugging that energy in to the center. Navel to spine. udiyana bandha. All we're going to transition here is the knee forward. Release the foot from the leg, stretch it behind you. Warrior 3, lift the leg straight up back behind you. Arms with ears stay, become parallel to the floor. Bend your front knee, land into your lunge, rising. Hands to heart. Open warrior 2. Good, just a little fluid movement. Inhale here. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Hands to the mat. Step back, downward dog. Now you can take a vinyasa here, that fluid motion, or skip it. High plank inhale, knees up or down, exhale. Cobra or up dog, shoulders back. And downward facing dog. Stretch back, inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, look forward, navel to spine. As you step forward, create space, half lift. Empty it through. Press to rise. And hands to heart center. Other side, shift your weight to your right foot. Left knee bends, swing it wide. Foot to ankle or calf, maybe upper thigh. Open the knee without twisting your hips. Take your eyes up, squeeze in. Take your arms to follow. Fullest expression of your tree, Vrikshasana. If the breath has gotten short or choppy, or maybe it's non-existent, bring back the depth in and out. The transition here will be knee forward, foot back, extend the leg, then hinge, warrior 3, arms with ears. Bend your standing leg, come to lunge, reach straight up, hands to heart. Open warrior 2, heel comes down, gazing over your right fingertips. Take a breath, let it go. Another breath, extend through the elbows, hands to the mat, come back to downward dog. Stay here, take a break, take a flow. Inhale, high plank, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, up dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Wonderful, take a breath, navel to spine. Tiptoe your feet up your mat and come into a seated position. Now you'll seated cross-legged to start here. And I like to start this preemptively with, if you're tight in your hips or your knees are bothering you, I'll give you some options. But instead of tight cross legs, think about your legs being crossed slightly out in front of you, a little further away. And you're going to pull. Let's do the same leg on top. So let's go right leg crossing on top. Now your left foot, you can toe heel it out to the side. And then your right leg can stay exactly as it is. It might even extend on top of that left knee. That feels okay. It's just an opening, that external rotation to sit tall. And notice how the foot is out on an angle, because if it's tucked under, or option 2, bring that ankle right on top. If you're bringing it up on top and you're starting to feel a little pretzeled, bring your bottom leg out in front. So those are the 2 options. Whichever you've chosen to be in, Agni Stambhasana, double fire log, all great variations. If just being here is plenty for you, keep some flexion in your toes to protect your knees. Sit nice and tall, take an inhale. Think Udiyana Bandha as you exhale, navel to spine, lean forward. Now that lean forward might not have gone as far as I did. You're going to where the degree that you feel in your hips is. If the leg is on top, that lean might be a lot less. Stay for a couple breaths. Focus on that pulling in of the navel towards the spine, or at the base of your exhale, play with pulling the belly up for a moment. Create some space and lean in a little further. Learning how to manipulate that inner body just takes some time, just takes practice. So right now you might think, I have no idea what I'm doing. Keep thinking about it, because what we think about, we create. If we think about that action of pulling the navel in and up, we start to create space in our lower body. 2 more breaths. Now, wherever you are, you'll lean back. The legs will come out in front. So that was right leg on top. Give the legs a little shake. Natural cross, left ankle in front. Remember, we're not trying to tuck them in tight. You're just crossing at the ankles in front of you, just for a different angle. It's like a little further out, letting the knees be wide. And if your hips are tight, your knees might be high. That's fine. Keep your right foot about as high and level with your left knee. Option to extend the left leg to bring some ease to it. Option 2, hook that ankle on top for that double fire log position. That's too much. Leave it down in front. I call this a relaxed Agni Sambhasana because sometimes our hips are really tight and this is all we need. Sit tall, take a breath, close the eyes, and then lean in. Take what you need today. Let your focused attention be on that lock in the center, which is helping to bring the energy up into the lightness, the above the line space. As we're breathing here, I'll do another udiyana bandha expression. If you want to join me, feel free to. As you're leaning in, take an exhale. Chin down, belly lift. Inhale to release. You'll see the belly reappear. And then exhale to go a little further. So even though you're not always holding the belly up underneath the ribs, you're effectively extending some space to create a little bit more access. When we stretch our hips, we're effectively stretching our neck and our shoulders. Kind of to let the head hang here, chin back, crown of the head reaching. Walk your hands back behind you, legs around in front, little tap out, feet flat, and hips forward, lie onto your back. As you take a lie back, feet flat, touch your heels, one bridge position here, tuck the shoulders, elbows bent, palms over your belly, press down, lift your hips to the sky. Option to take your hands underneath, interlace 10 fingers, walk your shoulder blades towards each other, chin off your chest, hips to the sky for 5, 4, pull your heels towards you for 3, for 2, and 1. Release your hands, release your spine to your tail. Slide the feet away. Option, knees together, feet wide. This is one I really like to release the sacrum. Option 2, feet together, knees wide. Some really like this opening. Left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly. Option 3, extend your legs fully. Take this minute, just like after 30 minutes of breath. Enjoy this minute. Simply watch the thoughts like clouds in the sky. Float in and float out. Take your attention back to your intention, what you set forth from the very start of your practice. Does it still exist here? Are you still moving towards it, engaging through the breath, all of the light, the lift, the ease that comes, and recognizing that we have both sides and we need both, that we can't find our way out of the dark without the light, that we wouldn't know what light is without the dark. Gradually and slowly, you'll bring yourself back to a seated position. If you're feeling really good on your back, just stay there. Otherwise, as you come back up to sit tall, close your eyes and let your hands greet back at your heart center. To move in the flow, the expression of your breath. Keep allowing that to transpire through the rest of your day and the days to follow. And even when you notice you get stuck, when you fall below the line in your communication, that in an instant, you can choose to rise above it. Draw the breath. Let it go. Bow your head to your heart. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I hope to see you live soon. Thanks so much for joining me.